So, the double game week fixtures that have been added is Man United and Crystal Palace, and Man City versus Spurs. And this is because Crystal Palace were knocked out of the FA Cup. Manchester United won and went through in the FA Cup, so there was no draw scenario there. So they could play Crystal Palace. Leeds did draw, so had Crystal Palace drawn, then Man United couldn't have played either of those teams and wouldn't have had a fixture there. Man City and Spurs both did not draw. Spurs ended up beating Portsmouth, and Man City ended up beating Chelsea, which means that the double game week was confirmed. So Man City have a double versus Manchester United away and Spurs at home. Crystal Palace have a double game week away to Chelsea and at home to Manchester United. Manchester United have a home fixture versus Man City and an away fixture versus Crystal Palace. And Spurs have a double as well with Arsenal at home and Manchester City away. So immediately we look at the fixtures, they're not great, right? If we're looking at assets here, so I'm going to bring up a notepad here as well. So kind of the doubles you're looking at, so Spurs, so in all cap, if it's in capitals, that means they're at home. If it's in lowercase, that means they're, they face them away. So they face Arsenal at home, Man City away, Man United. Just going to kind of line them up a little bit as best I can. Man United have Man City at home, Crystal Palace away. Man City have Man United away, Tottenham at home, and Crystal Palace have Chelsea away and Man United at home. So right off the bat, the teams that you're kind of, already looking at here, you're kind of excluding Palace. Chelsea away, Man United at home. Not very good attacking options apart from maybe Zaha. He typically does well versus the better teams, but you're probably not going to go out of your way to get him. You're going to look to go for maybe double, triple United, definitely triple City, and maybe Kane is what you're kind of looking for. So we're going to kind of exclude Palace out of that. So again, it's just Zaha for me and nothing really else there. Man City. Now the assets you could potentially look for here. Everyone's gonna have Haaland, so that's kind of that's already that's a lock. That's guaranteed. Second player that I would probably say is on the list for everyone is probably KDB. And then the rest of the players that they're probably you're looking at is your Fodens, Mahrez, Cancelo, Lewis. Let me just bring it down a little bit. Lewis, Stones, Akanji. These sorts of players, and then like Ederson as an example. Those would be like kind of your third spot. I think a lot of managers are going to look to KDB and Haaland. I might go for something different. Might take a punt because I'm going to be trying to do that sort of stuff. But that's kind of what you're looking for the most part out of City. Everyone's going to have Haaland. You're going to try to get triple City. In terms of each individual player, I would say defenders, basically bring them in at your own risk. I would say your probably most secure third player is almost certainly going to be Ederson. I don't see him being rotated. I think Mahrez is potentially going to be a good value pick. I think he's currently 7.5 million. Yeah, 7.5 million. 2.2% owned. Has been playing extremely well recently. Got 2 assists and a goal. And has done quite well for himself. So expect Riyad Mahrez to potentially pick up some more minutes. And even off the bench can prove to be quite effective. And we'll talk about what my potential moves would be around this as well. Man United. I'm just going to copy this and then just remove the player. So player number 1 that again everyone's going to have is Rashford. And what I'll do is I'll put this asterisk next to the players that pretty much that everyone's guaranteed going to have. or at least it's very likely that they're going to be fairly highly owned. The second player is probably Shaw slash some Man United defender. So that's Delo, Shaw, Varane, whoever it may be. And then I think the third player is going to be one of maybe Martial, David De Gea, Bruno Fernandes. Somebody like that is probably going to be the third option. I don't really think Antony's an option. He could be a bit in and out of the team. I think Martial's our only forward, so he's going to play whether he gets taken off at 70 minutes or not. He's going to probably start both games, certainly unless he gets injured. Bruno, is going to play both games, so maybe he's a better option in there as well. So that would be kind of the list for United. And then I think Spurs, honestly, it's just Kane, to be honest. And I don't think he's even guaranteed to be, kind of in the, in everyone's team. I know he's, pretty highly owned at the moment. I want to say he's around like the 30% mark. Yeah, 30.3. We're almost bang on. He's been crazy red hot in the last 5 games with 5 goals and 2 assists, which is crazy. If Haaland didn't exist, like Kane's got 15 goals, 4 assists, Haaland's got 21 goals and 3 assists. Like if Haaland didn't exist, we would be talking about Kane. Yes, Kane did get 2 goals and an assist in the last game, but he can do it against anyone. He always often scores versus Arsenal. City, he's done very well versus them in the past. So again, he could be someone to go for. These are not defensive fixtures for Spurs. I would not be going for them. Again, the only outside pick that I would be looking at would be Son. Kulusevski, maybe if we knew he was guaranteed to be fit. But again, it looks like he could be potentially on like risk, like kind of minutes or whatever. Yes, he's only got a yellow flag here, but maybe he won't be risked. Again, at 7.9 could prove to be good. But again, just been a bit injury prone. Bentancur, again, they really need Bentancur back in order for him to kind of solidify the midfield and allow Kane and Son to do what they do. So it could be a bit risky there. So yeah, those are kind of the players that you're looking at. Kane from Spurs, none from Palace. Rashford, pretty much everyone's going to have. Maybe one United defender, and then one of maybe another United defender. David De Gea, Martial, Bruno Fernandes. And then for Man City, Haaland, everyone's probably going to have. KDB is going to be highly sought after. And then one of Foden, Mahrez, and then one of the defenders / Ederson will probably be in there. Even though I don't think, I think the only team that's potentially going to keep a clean sheet in this double is going to be probably Man United. I think both Man United and Man City score against each other in their game. I think Arsenal and Spurs both score against each other. I think Man United have the best chance of keeping a clean sheet versus Palace, and I think that Man City and Spurs both score against each other as well in that one. So that would be the only reason why for City, I like potentially the triple attack and be a bit more, potentially a bit riskier as it were. So if we take a look at my team currently as it stands, and kind of how we can look at these kind of players now that we know what we're looking at here. Again, I still have the notepad off to the side, and I'll continue to reference it. But currently, I only have 2 Man City players. I have 2 United players. I have no Spurs players, and I have no Crystal Palace players. Now, from those teams, you're probably looking at 7 Double Gameweek players tops. That's going to be Kane, Haaland, De Bruyne, and one other. Rashford, a United defender, and one other. I think 7's probably the most. I think the average is probably going to be around 5 with 2 United and triple City, I think is what's going to happen. I would not be shocked if there was, Haaland was higher than 200% ownership this week with people playing triple captaincies on him. Me personally, I wouldn't do that because I think around game week 34-ish, there could be a good double game week where he plays like Fulham and another easier team. Let me see if I can bring up the Ben Crellin stuff. If you haven't followed Ben Crellin over on Twitter, fantastic work with the fixtures. Also, Planet FBO are looking to do some stuff on the fixtures as well, which could be of good insight there as well. Let me take a look at Ben Krellin's fixture. So he says, before the Game Week 20 deadline, we'll know more about how likely these double game weeks are. If Arsenal win tonight, which they did, and then Man City would be more likely to be knocked out before the FA Cup quarterfinals. If Man City draw Man United in the EFL Cup semi-final, that's Carabao Cup, then Bournemouth versus Man City would become less likely to become a blank and double game week fixture. So possible double game weeks for Manchester City in the future would be Man City versus Aston Villa at home and Arsenal away. I'll actually put it up on the screen here for you so that you all can see it. So this is the tweet here. So this is possible for Game Week 23. Game Week 29 would be Liverpool at home and then Bournemouth/West Ham in 29. 34 is the one that I would be looking at. Fulham away plus Bournemouth would be like prime time for Holland. Assuming that if they're in the Champions League, then it could be a bit iffy, or if the Premier League's still a bit sticky, Holland could be going for goals there. So we'll have to wait and see. Bournemouth versus Man City is a postponement if Man City reach the Carabao Cup final, which is very likely for them to do. Man City versus West Ham is postponed if either club reach the FA Cup quarterfinals, and then Man City versus Brighton is postponed if either club reach the FA Cup semi-final. So again, Ben Krellin just goes to reiterate that PP means basically postponed. So Bournemouth versus Man City would stay in Game Week 25 and won't become a double game week in 29, 34, 37 if Man City does not reach the Carabao Cup final. So basically, in the event that Man City does not reach the Carabao Cup final, that fixture will stay in Game Week 25 and not be moved later on. The likelihood is Man City will beat their opponent in the quarterfinals. I think they have Southampton away in that one. They'll then either get drawn up against somebody easier or United, in which case you probably have them favorites anyway to go through, even though I just predicted United to beat them. But you'll probably have them favorites to, assuming that United and City don't play each other and they both get through, to both make it to the final, which would move this game into a later double game week. And which one that will be, we'll have to wait and see. But if it does go into the Game Week 34 one, that would be prime time for the triple captaincy for Holland. So in my opinion, I think the triple captaincy on Holland should not be used. Man United are a tough fixture at the moment. Spurs are going to sit back and prove to be a bit difficult for him as well. I think there's going to be easier fixtures and better fixtures for him to go crazy in. Although, that being said, Holland doesn't tend to blank against anyone, really. So, yeah, use it as you will. But I think the triple captaincy is probably going to be used then as well. Or even a slightly better game week is better than this one, because you don't want to be using a triple captaincy on a two big six or historical big six teams. So what is that going to be for me and my transfers? Well, if we just take a look at the team, so we got Kepa, Trippier, Cucurella, Robertson, Rashford, Sterling, Foden, Martinelli, Martial, Haaland, and Darwin Nunez. Now, Martial I'm definitely going to keep, assuming he's not injured. I think Rashford's obviously a keep. Foden I'm going to keep because I think he's going to play. He plays in the big games, so I expect him to play on the left and probably Mars to play on the right. But if he doesn't play, then obviously that's unfortunate. But he's got a double, and he's a Man City player, and he typically plays in the big games. So unless Pep changes that, we'll have to wait and see. But Foden's often done well in the bigger games, at least for Man City. Sterling will most likely go because he is currently what looks to be he's going to be out for a decent bit. So he would be one to make way. Pretty easy, straightforward transfer would be to get rid of Sterling and bring De Bruyne straight back in, who we got rid of previously. The other thing that I could go for, which I'm actually more inclined to do so, because it seems like he could be a bit of a punt, is Riyad Mahrez. And then we could potentially go for, we would have 5.3 million in the bank after that transfer, is to get rid of Cucurella, because Chelsea just do not look good at the moment. Yes, they have Palace at home. But again, Liverpool away, they'll probably concede. They have decent enough fixtures afterwards, but I'm just really not sure about Chelsea. At the moment, Arsenal are going to be solid. They're probably going to have a double game week in 23, which is currently on the cards. I'm not sure if there's anything that could change that. Trippier's not going anywhere. I think Robertson is still providing good value. He'll probably be back in the team and could provide some attacking value. So maybe he's the one that gets cut later on if we need another Chelsea defender back. And it would be Reece James anyway. So I'm thinking also go for the likes of Delo because, you know, cheaper than Shaw, is going to come back. Was a bit of a bonus magnet when he was playing. United do have good fixtures after the Arsenal game as well, and it's not like United have been bad defensively. I expect them to do well defensively versus Palace and the fixtures afterwards. So, and it's a double game week, so we would have triple United, triple City. In that one, that would be for -4, and then afterwards, if we really wanted to, if we thought that, hey, look, you know, Kane's still doing well, and we don't want Martial long term. For the Arsenal fixture and later on we just want the 2 United, we can then get rid of him and go straight up to Kane because Salah just isn't looking the part at the moment. KDB is creating chances but again not getting the FPL points, whereas Mars and Foden could be if they're played. I think that's potentially currently what Pep should be playing, but again, you know, Phil Foden with the junk minutes and then pulled off after 59 minutes. Could be a bit of an interesting one there where we might have to change Foden out for somebody. It would probably be Saka with Arsenal's good fixtures, but if he's out, then maybe we have to go for an alternative. Darwin Nunez is still on the, you know, kind of the watch at the moment. So, but that's kind of what we're looking at. We could bring in Kane as well for Martial. If we wanted to, I'm not sure if we can do this, but if we brought in De Bruyne here, we could not go to Kane. We would be how much short? 2 million, I want to say. So yeah, instead of Cucurella, we would have to get rid of Robertson and go to a cheaper United defender. Martinez is just barely out of reach. Which is unfortunate. So yeah, I think Kane is due to go up tonight anyway, so we need even more than 0.1, which is a bit unfortunate. So that would be something we could potentially look at, but the likelihood is might go for Mars or something like that, and a United defender. But this is as it stands currently. So I'll just bring this up one more time for you so you can see the notepad. So basically, the only player I'm looking at is potentially Kane for this double for Spurs. Rashford is guaranteed cert, some type of United defender, so Shaw or Delo. And then Fernandes, Martial, David De Gea could be in that conversation for a third United asset. Haaland guaranteed. De Bruyne could be or will be in most teams. And then one of Foden, Mars, and then one of the defenders plus Ederson will be in there, I think, for a lot of managers. I think the most assured of starts would be Ederson. I think Foden is much of a risk. I think Mars is a risk as well. It just seems like when Pep has a player that's playing well, he just kind of doesn't play them, and it's a bit weird. So that's what I would say for that one.